I'm a math teacher. This is lame. Welcome to another episode of Math and Silly Hats. Today we're going to be translating a phrase into a two-step expression. So there will be no equal sign in an expression. That would be an equation, what we did yesterday. So it'll be difficult to check our work today. But we're still going to follow the same steps. We're going to identify and define variables of interest. We're going to underline or highlight keywords. And we're going to write an expression this time. We're just going to make sure it makes sense. So in this example, we have 8 more than the product of 16 and a number. So here ALEKS doesn't give us the variable of interest. So let's first define that. A number is not known. So this, let n represent a number. So our first step was to identify and define our variable. So we're going to use n to represent a number. Next, we're going to look at this expression and underline or highlight the key words. So 8 more than is going to mean addition. The product is going to mean multiplication. 16 and a number. Next, let's write an equation to represent this expression. Eight more than meant addition. The product of 16 and number. So product of means multiplication. Obviously, we're not going to put the multiplication sign first and then these two numbers and variables. Instead, we're finding the product of these two things. So 16 and a number, n will be multiplied. 16, 10. And this reads 8 more than the product of, because we're multiplying here, 16 and n. If you chose to, you could instead write this as 16 times n. The two are equivalent because when you multiply a number, constant, by a variable, this becomes its coefficient. Let's do one more example. Now in this example, we're going to be finding the sum of 21 and twice Francis's height. Again, we haven't had the variables defined for us, so let's first identify and define that variable. Francis's height is not given to us. This is the unknown. So let's let f represent Francis's height. So we've defined our variables. Next, we're going to underline or highlight the important information. So the first keyword I see is sum, which is going to mean addition of 21 and twice Francis's height. Twice here is going to be multiplication. This may seem counterintuitive because we see sum, so we'd think add to. But if I asked for twice $10, you wouldn't give me 12, you'd give me 20, which is twice or 2 times 10. So let's now write an equation to represent this expression. Sum of 21 and. Now whenever you see a prepositional phrase like this, sum of something, this means I'm going to do this operation to the next two listed things. So 21 and something are going to be added together. So 21 plus twice, we said meant 2 times Francis's height, which we used f to represent. Before I conclude, let's go through one example of a tricky problem where, again, you might find yourself making some mistakes. We'll identify and correct those. If you saw my video yesterday, you know that sometimes how we use the English language can be confusing when it comes to translating between sentences, or here phrases, and equations or expressions. Let's do this example where I will intentionally make a mistake, a common mistake I see, and then we'll realize what we did wrong and fix it. Here Here we have 23 less than twice Bree's score. So our first step is to identify the unknown. Here we don't know Bree's score. So let B represent Bree's score. So this is going to be our variable B. Then we're going to highlight and underline our important information. 23 less than. So less than should mean subtraction. Twice is going to, as we just saw, mean multiply something by 2. Bree's score, our variable B. When we go to write this expression, it seems like it should just be 23 minus 2 times Bree's score, B. Now we don't have an equal sign here, so it's going to be a bit difficult to check this. But what we can do is, let's think of a number that should work reasonably well and see if that checks out in our expression. So 23 less than twice Bree's score. Well, it sounds like this person probably did significantly better than Bree, since if you double Bree's score, you have twice as much, but it's a little less than that. So let's think of a score that Bree might have gotten. Maybe Bree didn't do too well, she got a 60%. So for example, if Bree's score was 60, then what would this expression give us? So let's work this out. 23 minus 2 times, we said Bree's score was 60. Now we would think that twice 60 would be 120, and then we take 23 off of that to figure out that the other person got a 97, which is pretty darn good. Let's see what happens. 2 times 60 is 120. 23 minus 120 is negative 97. Now, I know some of you haven't been doing much ALEKS, but I don't think anyone has a score of negative 97. And this certainly didn't make sense, given what our phrase was. So let's go back and see where we went wrong. Now, here's what we wrote down. 23 less than should be subtraction, twice Bree's score. Now, here's the issue. Just like what we encountered yesterday, if I say I want $20 less than $100, that doesn't mean 20 minus 100. It means 100 minus 20. So when we see something less than a second thing, we really mean that second thing minus the first. So we've written this in the opposite order. Let's rewrite this. So we're going to be subtracting 23 from twice Bree's score. So twice Bree's score and we want 23 less than that. So we're going to be subtracting 23 from it. Let's go with the same example we used last time to check this. Let's pretend Bree got a 60% and see what happens with our expression. So if Bree's score was 60, let's substitute that in and see if we get a score that makes sense. 2 times 60 minus 23. So 2 times 60 is 120 minus 23 works out to 97. And 97 is twice Bree's score and 23 less than that. Please be careful, and if you can, use a simple example to check your work when you're writing these expressions. Hopefully this has been helpful. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye!